Must have, what, 11, 12 stomach ulcers. I live with...
What if the show you loved was hiding a truth too dark to reveal? For years, millions tuned into Kitchen Nightmares, watching Gordon Ramsay tear apart failing restaurants and rebuild them from the ground up. To fans, he was a savior. But behind the scenes, things weren't what they seemed. The screaming, the disasters, the makeovers, they were real. But the endings? Not so much. Most of those restaurants didn't survive. And the toll nearly broke Gordon himself. Now, at 58, Gordon Ramsay finally opens up about why he canceled Kitchen Nightmares at the peak of its success, and his revelation isn't good. What really drove him to walk away from one of TV's biggest shows, and why has he brought it back almost a decade later? Stay tuned, because the truth will shock you. Back in 2004, no one could have predicted that a fiery chef from the UK would become one of the most famous television personalities in the world. Gordon Ramsay was already well known in the culinary world, but Kitchen Nightmares was something entirely new. The idea was simple. Take a failing restaurant, drop Gordon in the middle of the disaster, and watch him rip it apart before rebuilding it from the ground up. When the show first aired in the UK, it was raw, gritty, and unlike anything viewers had ever seen. But when Kitchen Nightmares crossed over to America in 2007, it became a phenomenon. Audiences couldn't get enough of Gordon calling food disgusting, exposing filthy kitchens, and telling delusional owners the hard truths they didn't want to hear. The show dominated ratings, earned awards, and made Gordon a household name. But behind the laughter and drama, something darker was happening. Fans believed Gordon was saving these businesses for good, but the reality told a very different story. The numbers were devastating. According to follow-ups and reality TV records, about 82% of the restaurants featured in the American version of Kitchen Nightmares eventually closed down. That meant only 2 out of every 10 restaurants Gordon tried to save actually survived long-term. For viewers, it was still great television. For Gordon Ramsay, a man obsessed with excellence and success, it was soul-crushing. Every closure was like a public reminder that even he couldn't save everyone, and the problems went far deeper than failing businesses. What Gordon discovered about many of these owners shocked him. Some didn't actually want to change. Some were lazy, delusional, or addicted to bad habits. Others used the show simply for free publicity, ignoring Gordon's advice the moment the cameras stopped rolling. It was a vicious cycle. He gave everything he had, only to watch most of them fail anyway. The toll wasn't just emotional. It was physical. Gordon later admitted that he suffered food poisoning multiple times while filming. The kitchens weren't just dirty, they were dangerous. Moldy beef stew, slimy vegetables, rotting meat. It wasn't an act. It was real. And Gordon was the one eating it. By 2014, after years of frustration, Ramsay reached his breaking point. The restaurant that finally pushed him over the edge was in a French ski resort. On paper, it was just another failing establishment. But Gordon quickly realized this was different. The owner wasn't failing because he didn't know better. He was failing because he simply didn't care. The man deliberately served overpriced, substandard food because he knew tourists had no other options. When Gordon tried to help, he faced complete resistance. The owner refused to listen, ignored every suggestion, and treated the entire process as free publicity. To Gordon Ramsay, this was the ultimate insult, not just to him, but to the very principles of hospitality and food. After a week of frustration, Gordon woke up one morning, looked around, and had a moment of clarity. He was done, not just with that restaurant, but with the entire show. What happened next shocked Hollywood. Gordon didn't go through agents or managers. He personally picked up the phone and called Fox Broadcasting Company. He told them that he was canceling Kitchen Nightmares himself. The executives couldn't believe what they were hearing. Ratings were strong. The fan base was loyal. Why cancel a hit? They begged him to reconsider. Take a break. Do fewer episodes. Change the format. But Gordon's mind was made up. He wasn't walking away because of money or ratings. He was walking away because the show was broken. And in 2014, at the height of its success, Kitchen Nightmares came to an end. But the story didn't stop there. In 2018, Fox tried again with a new format, 24 Hours to Hell and Back. Instead of spending a week at a restaurant, Gordon would have just one day to flip it. The idea was to reduce stress and keep things fast-paced. On paper, it sounded promising, but fans quickly noticed the difference. The makeovers on 24 Hours to Hell and Back felt rushed. The drama often seemed scripted, and the emotional connection wasn't there. By the third season, ratings had dropped sharply, and in 2020, the show was canceled. For the first time since 2007, Gordon Ramsay had no restaurant rescue program on television, which leads to the burning question: what happened to all those restaurants Gordon had tried so desperately to save on Kitchen Nightmares? Did any of them manage to survive long-term? Shockingly, the answer is no for most. Out of the 77 restaurants featured during the show's American run, only 11 are still open today. That's a survival rate of just 14%. Yet, those 11 survivors tell some remarkable stories. Take Pantaleone's in Denver, once ridiculed by Gordon as serving the worst pizza in town. Against the odds, owner Pete Fafalios embraced change, modernized his menu, and today Pantaleone's is thriving, with glowing reviews praising its unique crust and loyal customer base. Then there's Yanni's in Seattle, a Greek family restaurant nearly destroyed by bitter conflict between father and daughter. Ramsay helped them confront their differences and focus on the food. Over a decade later, the restaurant is still open, still using Gordon's renovations, and proudly displaying a signed menu from his visit. The old hitching post in Massachusetts is another survivor. Once run by a controlling father who refused to let go, it was successfully passed down to his daughter before being sold to new owners. Despite the transition, it remains open, still carrying the spirit of Ramsay's intervention. In California, Spin a Yarn endured financial ruin, marital chaos, and years of struggle, but somehow celebrated its 70th anniversary. And perhaps most surprising of all, Leo's Manhattan, run by a 23-year-old with zero experience, is now a thriving wine bar 2 decades strong. But make no mistake, these were rare victories. The majority of the restaurants closed their doors. And while that may look like failure, it's a reflection of reality. In the restaurant world, nearly 60% of new businesses close within their first year, and 80% within 5. Gordon wasn't just battling bad owners. He was fighting against one of the toughest industries in the world. Then, in 2020, everything changed. The COVID-19 pandemic devastated restaurants worldwide. Businesses that had thrived for decades suddenly closed overnight, not because of bad management, but because of circumstances completely out of their control. For Gordon Ramsay, this was the spark. For the first time in years, he felt the urge to return, not to yell at lazy owners, but to help hard-working people who truly deserved saving. In 2023, after 9 years away, Kitchen Nightmares returned. But it wasn't the same show. This time, Gordon wasn't just confronting incompetence. He was working with passionate owners struggling against impossible odds. The energy was different. He was still fiery, still brutally honest, but there was more wisdom, more compassion, and a stronger sense of purpose. Fans noticed the change immediately. The stories felt more authentic. The makeovers felt sustainable. The owners were genuinely grateful, and Gordon himself looked like he was enjoying it again. Critics praised the revival for being closer to the original UK version, less manufactured drama, more real solutions. So why did Gordon Ramsay really cancel Kitchen Nightmares in 2014? The truth runs deeper than one bad restaurant owner in France. It was about failure. The format itself was flawed. 1 week of intervention couldn't fix years of bad habits, financial struggles, or personal issues. And every time a restaurant failed after being on the show, it chipped away at Gordon's reputation. By canceling the show, Gordon wasn't quitting. He was protecting his integrity. And when the world changed during the pandemic, the timing was finally right to bring it back in a way that felt authentic. At 58, Gordon Ramsay admits that Kitchen Nightmares made him a star, but also nearly destroyed him. Today, its return is more than just nostalgia, it's redemption. And this time, he's determined to do it right. That's the story of Kitchen Nightmares, its rise, collapse, and shocking return. Do you think Gordon was right to walk away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit like, share with fellow fans, and subscribe for more untold stories. Because the drama doesn't always end when the cameras do. Thanks for watching.